Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 590th episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes for the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today we have Matt Ganzik. I've known Matt for a while. He is a sharp dude. He has developed some cool software tools, some that I use, and we get into his process. How does he come up with ideas? How does he test them, validate them, and monetize them? He has sold at least one for seven figures, I think a couple. Bought a new red Ferrari, had a new baby. So built a dream home. Guy's living large, and he's still pretty young. So a lot of good tips and advice here for you. If you are hearing this, well, I want to record it. So regardless of when you hear it, it'll be available. But I'm doing a live course Friday, December 2nd. Check out copybywes.com. So that is copywriting for sales. Super affordable. It's going to be a 7-hour day. If you can attend in person, it's fine. But you can attend remotely. We're going to record the whole thing. And I'm going to be sharing my tips and tricks for copywriting. If you're in person, then breakfast and lunch is included. You'll get a signed copy of my book for way less than it should be. But folks in my Gorillas of Growth class have been asking for it. Several of them are local, so I'm holding it at a friend's location, and we can fit about 25 people in person and 100 online. So if you can hear my voice, I'm still holding back a cough. 3 weeks. This is worse than COVID. So I'll keep this one short. Heading to jiu-jitsu tonight, but copybywes.com. Go check that out. Join us. You'll be glad you did. And now let's bring on our guest, Matt Ganzik. I create software that people use and manage advertising for brands all the way from Florida. Welcome to Sales Podcast, man. How the heck are you?
Doing really well. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man. It's good to finally catch up. I mean, I've been racing around that Ferrari, got a new baby, and you made time for little old me. Like I'm humbled.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be able to add some value to your audience here in whatever way I can. So definitely here for it.
So elaborate for me, if you will. I create software. We're going to get into advertising next, but I create software that people use, and I use one of your tools.
Yeah.
How do you know what the heck the market wants and needs and will pay for?
Yeah.
When you're developing something.
It's an awesome question. I think that's a loaded question as well, because there's I always go back to what Henry Ford said. If I developed what people want, people would just want a faster horse, right? And he goes on to create the car and absolutely disrupts the entire world, and so forth. So if we just always developed what people would want, it's not necessarily going to be what people need. So we have to take a look at what the demand is and in terms of what the end goal is, and then create the technology in order to achieve that end goal, whether it's faster, whether it's cheaper, whether it's, better in a sense. But I guess better is kind of an objective thing that everyone would have a different angle of what that might look like. But realistically, we take a look at what an opportunity is out there and say, okay, what's the problem and how do we solve that problem with micro software? Because effectively what we're creating is micro software. We're not creating like some, monstrosity of some platform, right? Like I'm not trying to build the next, $1 trillion company. I'm not building Apple. I'm not building, Microsoft as a company. I'm creating micro software as a service, right? So when we developed one of our technology pieces, the story behind that is March 1st, 2019, I was looking around trying to find a solution to a problem. And I personally needed that app to solve that problem. I needed to know who was active on my Facebook page and who was inactive on my Facebook page. And after spending 3-4 hours trying to find a solution using Google and, looking everywhere I could, posting in Facebook groups, asking if anyone had a solution to that, after hours of research, realizing that this, doesn't exist, I said, okay, well, let's make it, right? So within 7 days, we had a prototype ready to go. And within 30 days, we had the app ready to go to market and have users start signing up for it. And we ended up going on to make 7 figures from that app and a 7-figure exit. So it's you're paid in direct proportion of the problem that you're solving. So depending on the problem that you're solving, that's the opportunity costs that you have on the back end for revenue. So if the problem that you're solving doesn't have a lot of competition and there's a million people that are willing to pay, $15 a month for something, you'll be able to market to them and capture a percentage of that market opportunity. And it turns into a nice, business for you, 7-figure type business in this example. So point is, we'll go out there and look at audiences and look at audiences that I'm somewhat influential in, or have other partners who are influential in those marketplaces, and try to find technology that needs to be developed for that marketplace. So we won't necessarily look at something of like, hey, let's, take Zoom and Calendly and ClickFunnels and Infusionsoft and build them all into one app, and it's going to be this fantastic thing. It's kind of a bad idea, right? Because you're running an uphill battle, while competing with everyone else that has far better technology than you. We like to solve one simple problem. So, hey, I have a bunch of Facebook friends. Who's not engaging with my posts and who is? That's one problem. We solve that problem, and that's a 7-figure problem to solve. So that's, in a sense, what we like to do and help people.
How did you know that was going to be a 7-figure problem to solve? Because just because you had the problem, or the desire, doesn't mean people will pay for it.
100%. So once I created the prototype cost me like $1,500 to make with a developer, right? So, I'm not going and investing $150,000 into building something before I know that answer. So I had $1,500 in before I knew that answer. And I posted to my Facebook page and said, hey, if I solve this problem, would you guys be willing to pay for it? And I had over 1,000 people raise their hand and say yes. So that's when I said, all right, in my corner little sliver of the world of, Facebook, of this, internet world, there's a demand. And I have identified that demand to say there's at least 1,000 people that will pay for it. So, all right, we need to build it now. And we were able to build that. And we probably captured about 300 of those 1,000 people that raised their hand within the first 90 days. So I was able to make the entire initial investment back on that single post, basically, of saying, hey, who would want this? And then I went back to that post and said, hey, you said you wanted it. I built it for you. Here it is. Let's do it.
And who was this developer? Was this an employee, or did you just find somebody like on Fiverr or somewhere?
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to solve the problem with somebody that's already solved a similar problem. So just like, a doctor, you wouldn't, go to a doctor if you're having a heart problem. You won't go to a podiatrist, for example. Like, developers are very much the same way like a doctor. They have areas of specialties where they can solve problems based upon what your need is. So there was a specific need in order to solve that technology piece. So I had to figure out, all right, how do we build a proof of concept? What sort of technology do we need to build? So I went and found somebody that's done something similar to that already using the Upwork platform. So I said, all right, here's specifically what I need. So when I post out, I don't say, hey, I need a software developer to create an app for me. Because that's like going to a room full of doctors and saying, hey, I'm not feeling well. Somebody please help me. Right. So I needed a specialist that specifically could develop this specific technology that I needed. So I said, here's the problem. Here's what I think is going to be the solution. Here's, kind of a hypothesis of what that solution might look like. I need somebody within 7 days to tell me exactly how and what, and be able to show me how to do what it is that we need to do. And that hypothesis was proved true. Say, if we do something technologically in this way, then the result will look like this. And I'll be able to answer that question of, who's engaging and who's not. And I solved that problem. And then from there, we, just continue going down the rabbit hole, if you will, with, developing that technology, creating a user experience and, making a nice user interface, and then plugging it into Stripe to collect money.
So like if you find somebody overseas and you throw out $1,500 in a week, that I mean,
Hmm.
that's big money in the U.S. I mean, that's
Hmm.
$6,000 a month. I
Yeah.
mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. So did you say, hey, I have a $1,500 budget, or did you wait to see what the bids came back at?
Yeah. So typically, people, a good developer is going to charge overseas like $35 an hour, somewhere in that range, 35 to 50 an hour. A good developer in the US is going to charge 175, 200, 220 an hour. So this problem didn't necessarily need that level of, seniority. So I needed somebody just to go in and, code something. And so I said, how long is this going to take? And that's one of the questions I always ask when I'm hiring somebody is, okay, I see your hourly rate. How long is this going to take in order to accomplish that? Right. And then they say, 1 week. I'll be able to deliver this, proof of concept within 1 week, right? So I say, okay, set expectations. Here's what I need to see in 1 week. And if you don't deliver that, then what's the resolution to that? So do you continue working for free until it's delivered, or what is that? And then they'll respond back, oh, I guarantee we'll deliver in 1 week. Some people don't deliver, and that's on them because they're the ones that set the goal and set what that opportunity for them look like. And I just let them manage themselves and manage their own expectations, and then it's on me to keep an eye on their on what it is that they're doing, not micromanage, but at least keep an eye on the time that they're spending. So $1,400 to build a prototype for something is very small in this world. In the software world, like typically something like that would cost 30, 40, $50,000 to build a minimum product to go live. So typically I'll spend somewhere around $6,000 to $8,000 just on design alone, right? And we'll design something and create it and get it out there. So what I like to do is I like to solve the big technical problems first and just make it ugly. And it's like the ugliest thing you've ever seen, like no stylizing, nothing pretty to it. And then solve the problem first. And if the problem's able to be solved, the hard problem, then we, start making things pretty and start investing into making things better and so forth. So, yeah. So upfront, I like to set some sort of precedent of what is going to be delivered for that time and then hold them to that.
Mm-hmm. So you said, so 7 days you had a prototype, and within 30 days you had paying customers.
Yes, paying customers, and
So
made the entire investment back within a couple months.
what was that investment? So once the prototype is done, do you use that one developer like a manager of others? Did you bring in some US developers? Like how did you scale from that?
So for that app specifically, I had one person work on it the entire time and just continued developing the technology out and continue going and so forth. And then I will start bringing things in-house once things are developed, and then we can, have people here in the States, working on it. But in terms of, the looking at a whiteboard and a white piece of paper and just starting from scratch, it really makes sense to use, offshore devs to get something up and running really quickly. And then you can start, looking for those people to run the business locally. That 100% makes sense.
Yeah. So how did you get your start? I look at your website and YouTube, and you go back 5 years or more talking about Facebook advertising, paid traffic. Was that your start, and
Yeah.
then kind of evolved into your own entrepreneurial thing?
Yeah. My background is in radio, and I was initially on the radio back in 2004 through 2008 or so. And what I was doing is I was creating commercials for radio and so forth. So we had like 17 radio stations, and I was, producing the commercials, and people would come in, and I was also on air. And I had people coming in saying like, hey, we need to get one of these website things, right? And I'm looking around at the people that are, have been in radio for 30 years. I'm like, I can't see myself in radio in 30 years, right? Back in the early 2000s. I don't see myself being a DJ or, producing radio or even selling, radio advertising. I think this website thing, I need to take a look at this. So I went home and started teaching myself how to build websites, started selling my first websites in 2006 or so. And while doing the radio a little bit on the side. And then SEO was the next thing. People came in, all right, now I need my website to rank in search engines. So started teaching myself SEO, ranking in search engines for local business and so forth. And then Google advertising was the next thing. So, all right, well, I see this paid ad thing. What is that? So it's really been driven by my clients and the demand. So I learned how to do Google. So I've been advertising on Google since 2006, 2007, however long I've been on, pay-per-click on there. And then Facebook ads came out, and it was called FBX when it originally launched. And I got on there. I was one of the first advertisers through an exchange, which back then there was no way to like sign up, just put in a credit card and pay for Facebook ads. You had to go through a Facebook exchange. And I was advertising on Facebook, one of the first advertisers on there, and grew from there. And all these other apps that come out, I'm advertising on TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, Microsoft, Bing, Yahoo, Google, everywhere, right? So whenever the latest technology, we're running ads on Rumble, we're running ads on trying to get onto Truth Social is another one that's launching ads platform. So we're trying to stay on top of the latest technology, because like, for example, when Facebook ads first came out, the impressions were like cheaper than cheap, like 100 times less than what they are today. And we were getting people to sign up and, take action and do things at numbers that were just astronomical as compared to today. So when new technology comes out, we try to be on top of the latest tech. So really it's started from radio, and I was in a dying technology, and I said, all right, I need to be on the latest technology. So whatever that is today, that's what we're doing today. So if you're listening to this a year from now, there might be something else, and we're advertising on that platform. So we just stay in front of the newest technology, and that's really what's helping us to be cutting edge and drive cost-effective advertising.
So if somebody's new to paid traffic, where should they start?
In terms of that, you want to go to where your customers are, right? And there's a lot of people on Instagram. There's a lot of people on Facebook. So I really like those two platforms to get started, because it's a very low barrier of entry for you to start advertising on those platforms. And it's a low barrier of entry to be successful on those platforms. So there are a lot of nuances in advertising on Facebook and Instagram that are helpful for a new advertiser versus, say going on Google and say, all right, well, I want to advertise on YouTube for the first time, right? And you're like, oh, my people are on YouTube. I need to advertise on YouTube. Me as a seasoned advertiser have made this mistake several times where I set up an ad and I press publish, whatnot, and literally my entire budget is gone within 1 second. Because if you don't do the targeting correctly, your entire budget will just get eaten up on, trash websites or trash videos, right? And the problem with YouTube is there's so much inventory and so much opportunity on where you can put your ads. If you don't know how to do the targeting properly, you will actually burn through your entire ad budget within 1 second. And I've done that before. I had a, $1,000 a day budget. Fantastic. Oh, launching a YouTube ad, in the time that it took to hit publish and high five somebody next to me, the entire budget was gone and I had 0 clicks. So yeah, that's not a good situation. So I don't like telling, a novice to go to that platform. Whereas over on Facebook, Instagram, it's super simple to get started. Like you can literally watch one YouTube video. I have several YouTube videos on it. You can watch one YouTube video and have ads running. Set up the ad in the morning, it'll be running by the afternoon, and literally have a sale before you go to sleep at night. So like that's the speed of which you can do advertising on, say, a Facebook or Instagram. And I think that the learning curve is much easier to get started there.
And would that be like a true ad versus a sponsored post or boosting a post? Should they just do a pure ad?
Yeah. So boosting a post is basically the same thing as running an ad from the ads manager, just with no targeting or less targeting, right? So I don't like ever using the boost post because like I tell, my students and the people that come through and ask, how to advertise and so forth. If you're pressing the boost post button, that's basically just saying, here, Facebook, Meta, take my money. Just take it. I don't really need it. I don't need, you can have it. I don't really need it. You guys need it more than I do, right? So when you're going into advertising, it's more like, all right, here's the audience that I want to target. I want to target men in this age range, in this area. I want to target anyone that has not seen my page or anyone that's seen my page or seen my post, whatever. You can target people more granularly, and it gives you that opportunity to spend less money. Say, hey, I have this post that did really well. I posted it on Facebook and, I got 50 comments on it. Fantastic. And I had a bunch of people reach out and say that they want to sign up. Fantastic. Whatever opportunity you're selling. So you can take that exact post that you posted on Facebook, go into the ads manager and say, this is the ad creative I want. Just grab the URL, grab the ad creative ID, which is just the number on the URL, and just put it in as an ad. Facebook ads will pull that in and run that exact post as an ad. So that's one of the strategies that we'll do. Oftentimes, when we're launching a new product, what we'll do is we'll post it to the page first and have a bunch of our previous customers say, oh, love it, love this product, love the business, love this, love that, like, get that love on the post, because the comments are customer reviews and so forth, right? So we want that positive engagement on the post. And then I take that exact same post and then I go out to cold traffic, people that have never seen us before. And then I say, okay, well, show this to this demographic because it's kind of looks like this audience. Go show it to more people that look like this audience. And that's where we really see that huge opportunity, because we'll really stack up a lot of positive engagement on a single post. And you can ask previous clients too, like, hey, this post, go and say something nice about your experience on that post. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And they'll, say something nice usually. And then you take that post and then go and show it to new customers. And the cadence of somebody watching a video or seeing a sponsored ad is they'll see the image or video, and that's what gets them to stop scrolling. They'll read what's above it, which is somewhat of your offer or your opportunity. And then they'll go down to the comments to see if anyone's talking smack about the business or if people are saying good things about the business. Once they do those things, then they'll look at the middle, which is your call to action, which is, hey, sign up for, a free service, or sign up for, that's your offer. And then they'll take action on the offer. So that's kind of the cadence of events through breaking down the psychology of a Facebook ad or Instagram ad. And those comments play so much of a role in having positive returns on your advertising, because if they don't see that positive comment, they're not necessarily going to take that instance on Facebook or Instagram to take the action. What they do in that regard, if there's no positive comments, is they'll go to Google, they'll look up your company, and then start reading reviews on Google to see if they want to do business with you. So that's kind of the psychology of the process.
Yeah. What if somebody doesn't have a big presence on Facebook? A friend of mine is a fantastic chiropractor. He just barely uses Facebook. He's got a profile. He's got a page. So, I guess theoretically, if he did make a post, he'd probably get a lot of positive comments because everybody loves him. He vastly undercharges.
Yeah.
He really over delivers.
Yeah.
But let's just say he's a nice guy, makes a post, and there's crickets. How does somebody like him, because there's a lot of people are like, I don't do business on my Facebook. It's just for friends and family, and it's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So what do they do in that case?
I think Instagram is a phenomenal opportunity for everybody. And I think Instagram Reels is a phenomenal opportunity. I follow some chiropractors. I've been having some like lower back pain, like pinched nerve type thing. So I've been following actually some chiropractors on Instagram Reels, and I start seeing more content about stretches that I should do and different things like that. But the people that I'm following are in a totally different city. Like, it's not practical for me to go to that city to get a service, but I can go to my local chiropractor and have them like, hey, is this right, whatever. But point being, that's a phenomenal opportunity to create content, because it's really easy to create the content. Like the couple stretches that I do, the chiropractor can say, hey, if you have a sciatic nerve issue, here are 3 stretches that you can do, and do the stretches on the reel, post that up to a reel, and you'll have a lot of people comment and engage with that post. A lot of people that are not in your area, but the people who are in your area, you could target with ads with that exact same post, right? So you post the post to Instagram, and then you get a bunch of positive comments like, oh, thank you, Dr. Matt, that was fantastic. Like, I'm relieved now that I did that one thing, right? Like, that really helped me out, so forth. And so you get awesome comments, and then you take that ad and you run it to your target audience. And there could be a little call to action in there, like, hey, if you're struggling with sciatic nerve pain, do this stretch, but also book a consultation, come in and, see us, and then send that out to your audience. Boom. Now you have a warm audience and a lot of engagement on an ad. And once Instagram and Facebook, once they identify that this is content that people like based upon likes and hearts and whatnot, and the comments and clicks and view time, and also rewatching the video is another part of the algorithm. Once people do all of those things as part of that video, it identifies to Instagram and Facebook that, hey, people like this video. So when you do run it as an ad, you will spend less money for the same impressions and the same amount of clicks and the same amount of activity. You just spend less money because Facebook and Instagram identify that that's a post, that's a video that people actually like. So it's important to, I call it seasoning an ad or seasoning a video before we run ads to it. So that's why we like to build an organic following before you do any of that. So for that chiropractor friend, I would say 100%, like, start creating reels. And you have an infinite amount of things that you can do. Like, my wife just gave birth, like, our son is 7 weeks old. One thing is, when she's breastfeeding, to not look down all the time while she's breastfeeding, because it causes pain in her neck, right? So that would be one video. New moms, like, here are some things that you can do to alleviate back pain or neck pain as being a new mom, etc. So that sort of video could get 1 million views, right? One, you could make money off of being paid for the impressions, which Instagram would pay you. And that's one way. Second way is you could actually end up using that to attract new moms in your area if you're looking for clients.
Yeah, nice. How do you decide what tools, what features to add to a tool that you're making? Because you talk about micro software, because the reality is, I mean, you have like your find friends, right? It's a simple tool, but I mean, you're able to charge more for that than Microsoft Office. Why don't people complain? How do you figure out, like, keep it super limited but high price? It's like that's the holy grail.
Yeah, I think it's the problem that you're solving, right? And if you're solving a problem that people are willing to pay for, right, then advertising is expensive, right? So if I say that I can expand your reach and our tool will help to expand your post reach, business owners will come and use that app, because at $100 a month, at even $500 a month, if that cuts into their advertising spend and they don't have to spend that money in ads and they get the same amount of activity, if not more, then we can justify the price. So in the psychology of the intrinsic value that we're bringing forward, is that value is there because we're shifting the budget from someplace else, saving you money, keeping money in your pocket, and giving you that opportunity to achieve the goal. Because the goal is more clients, more eyes, more engagement, more reach, more of all those things. So that's what you're paying ads for. If our tool can do that, we can cut into that at a fraction of the price, and we can show what that value is, and people are willing to pay for it in that regard. So in terms of that, like, we can definitely justify that. And your example of Microsoft Office, with the launch of Google Docs and all of the Google spreadsheets and all the different things that Google did, that's free. So Microsoft is now competing with something that's absolutely free out there. No one has launched a competing app with us that's free, and we give a free trial. And if you like it, you can put your credit card in and pay for it. So I understand the freemium type model of getting them in for free and then ascending those people that are serious about it up to a paid version. And that works really well for us.
How do you hold your ground on features?
Yeah.
Right. It's always the issue. I got started with Infusionsoft in 2008. And there's always the argument. Somebody always wants another feature.
Yeah.
And how do you say no? How do you go, all right, that's worth adding?
Yeah. It's every single time somebody gives us a feature request, which we probably get one every day, I say, fantastic. We put that onto our roadmap, and we'll take that into consideration as we go. Now, if it's something that is a core feature that is helping to lend to our main mission statement, then I'll do it. But if it's outside of our main mission statement of, helping people do X, Y, and Z, then I'll put it on the roadmap, and then we'll weigh that out later on based upon how many people are requesting for it. And typically we'll just, not develop those features because we like to stay just on our core. There are apps out there that do everything for everyone. And, you can go and sign up that it does, it's a Swiss Army knife type app. I don't like creating Swiss Army knife type apps, because if you're trying to be everything to everyone, you're going to do nothing for no one because you're not great at anything. So we're the best at the one thing that we do. And if there's an idea that helps us be even better at that one thing, then we'll add that feature. If it's not, then we just don't add the feature, and we put it on the roadmap, and we'll consider it down the road.
So what are you seeing now? Like, what's coming up in this next year? Like, where's the opportunities? Where are the risks in this crazy world we're living in?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, and it's not necessarily like I want to serve 300 million people, right? That's not my goal. If your goal is to serve 300 million people with your software, you're going to end up serving nobody, right? But if you can find, say, an audience of 100,000 to 1 million, and say, this is my target audience that might be interested in this thing. I like the online business owners, right? I mean, that's a great opportunity, because an online business owner is willing to pay for something, right? So I will go out and say, there's 1 million potential online business owners that might want this app. So I'll, put that number at, hypothetically 1 million. And then I say, through my marketing efforts, I could probably reach like 10% of that audience, or 20% of that audience. So I'm talking about 100 to 200,000 people that might consider our application. Now, out of that 100 to 200,000 people, let's say that we convert, 10% of them to a paying customer, or to a trial and then to a paying customer, whatever. I have to look at the metrics and say, here's the opportunity, here's the competition. So the opportunity divides by the competition. So if there's 10 other people competing for that space, I instantly have to take that attention away. But if it's a big opportunity to say there's 1 million people, no competition, 1 million people over one, that's 1 million people that I can potentially reach. If there's 10 competitors in that space already, then there's 100,000 people I can potentially reach, right? So I have to take a look at the competition and, what future competition might come into play. And I make the decision, like, this is something that we want to do or not. So I like serving a simple audience and this single avatar that I like to continue to serve, because I've already built that audience. I've built the audience through my other products, and I have this brand awareness, if you will, within that space. So I like creating more technology for them. So I like looking at what those opportunities look like to create technology for that space. Now, somebody that's just getting started that doesn't have that audience, I would say look at some of these other opportunities that might be out there to say, like, hey, this person on Instagram and TikTok has this massive audience, right? Like, reach out to them and say, what technology can we build for your audience and partner on this opportunity? Because building an audience is one piece of the puzzle. Building the technology is one piece of the puzzle. Getting those people to buy it is the sales piece. And if you partner with somebody that already has an audience curated and you create products for that audience that they'll love and have low competition, then you really have a great opportunity to create a partnership with synergy. So that's something that I really like looking at for audiences that I'm not in that space. So I'm developing technology in online gaming, which I think, future of online gaming is massive, and esports and so forth. The viewership is down exponentially on the World Series this year. It's down exponentially on, NFL and all of these. Golf is struggling with live and everything that's out there for that. But point being, entertainment is something that's completely shifting because there's this deflationary event that's happening right now where people are able to get their entertainment on their computer and at home, and people are buying the video game and playing video games and so forth. And there's this huge uptake in, people playing games and even older people playing games. But point being, I see a huge opportunity in gaming and so forth. So we're building technology in that arena as well. I don't have an audience in gaming, so I partner with people that already have an audience, and we're creating technology within that space. So that's kind of my psychology of, one step is audience, one step is technology, and you come together and create the sales process.
Yeah, that's interesting on the sports, but I'm always curious. Like, I just heard Amazon Prime just signed an 11-year, billion-dollar per year deal to carry Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
So how are they justifying that?
Yeah, it's, Amazon is, that it's really part of the, streaming type services that are going on. And everyone's trying to come out with a streaming service, right? And everyone's trying to get people on their streaming service based upon what people want to watch, right? And you're really seeing, different pivots and all of this in real time. Even seeing like CNN launch a streaming service, and 5 seconds later takes the streaming service down, right? So there are all sorts of opportunities in the streaming service world, but people have to create their niche. I think in the NFL that is a huge opportunity, because it's really difficult to get the NFL on your home if you don't have Dish and the other things. So they identify an opportunity like, hey, here's an audience. Maybe it's a declining audience, but here's an audience nonetheless. Let's put it through our service and get more people to buy our Amazon Prime in order to achieve that. So that's their hypothesis. They put their hypothesis out. If we sign this deal, then we will have more people buy Amazon Prime. We'll see how that deal plays out and see if it was a good decision for them or if it was a terrible decision. And just like CNN, they shut down pretty quickly. So I don't think we're going to see a shutdown of Amazon instantaneously. It's not going to kill them. I mean, they have the money to do that. But what, in my opinion, when you see people not renew contracts, that speaks loudly to me to say, all right, that didn't produce the result that they were looking for. I think in this case, I think it's not going to produce the result that they're looking for, because people are, using, cracked, different, online streams that they can go and watch football anyways. And they're just using these illegal, services that they're going and signing up to. So I think that if you're trying to, overcome that as your competition, that's the most free you can get, is stealing and millions of people are stealing, streams every single day. So I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea, but you know what? I'm not Jeff Bezos. Like I'm not the richest person in the world. So why would you listen to me? I don't know. He must know something, right?
Because you got a red Ferrari, dude.
Dude. That's nothing.
That's why I listen to you.
In the grand scheme of the world. That is nothing in the grand scheme of the world. But I like to stay in my space. Everything else is just speculation until, it's tested and proven, right? So maybe it's the greatest idea that's ever been had for Amazon. Maybe it's the worst idea ever. I guess time will just tell.
Yep. Nice. If somebody is in traditional sales, insurance and whatever else, how could they leverage some of your insight? Like, what could they do to advertise, to get the word out? Because nobody goes online looking for insurance.
No, it's terrible.
Nobody goes online. I've got some tech clients, dealing in the commercial real estate space, reinventing how technology is deployed and how they monetize it. But it's revolutionary, right? It's like, it's so cool. They make so much money, but it's a paradigm shift, So these guys, they're not hopping online saying, how can I reinvent my technology in my building for my tenants? How do they leverage some of this so they're not just cold calling and banging on the doors trying to get a sale?
I think there are a couple of opportunities. I've done some things in insurance before. And one of the ways that you can grow an insurance company, if that is finding referrals, like really building your referral network, right? So you can go out and advertise like, hey, we're doing this event for local professionals, whatever. We're looking for, real estate, people in the area. We're looking for, mortgage people. Like we're looking for these specific people, and we're catering in the event. We're having, a guest speaker come and speak, and, it's free to attend or whatever that is. Like, go and advertise an event where you get a bunch of people together and you start building your referral network to where they say, okay, I'm going to start sending you all my business. I'm going to start, telling my clients about your services and so forth. I think that, really the best way to grow that is by building that referral network and building those opportunities. So not necessarily advertising to the consumer, but creating a massive referral network and building that organization in your local area, and you being kind of at the helm of that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did that back in 2000. I was working for a company that specialized in helping veterans transition out of the service into corporate America. And I was in Austin, and Dallas was part of my territory. And this West Point grad had a monthly luncheon of grads in the area. And I remember, and I said, I was young, I was still 29. And I was like, dude, you should start one of these in Austin. And he said, no, you should start one of these in Austin. Yeah. Because he just did it as a hobby, just to meet people. And he got business out of it, but he wasn't trying to build a nationwide thing. So I was like, oh crap. So I had an assistant, like three of us shared one assistant. We had a database, and I was like, hey, find everybody within like 50 miles. And there was like 400 something people. So back then you could send like a cold email, right? So we just blasted 400 people. Say, hey, we're having lunch. And like 55 people showed up. And that thing ran for, I moved out here in 2004 and handed it over. It ran for like 15 years at least, but I got recruited out of that. A grad came to the lunch and recruited me into high tech, and I made a mint, but I started my own referral network.
Yeah. I think with the cost of advertising going up, and a lot more people are advertising today, a lot of people are vying for those eyeballs. It's like 8 to 10 times more expensive than it was just 3 years ago, right? So as the cost is going up, that cost is not necessarily producing a higher result. So it's really tough. So you need to make that one connection. Like if it's an ad, say you spend $100 trying to advertise to all the local, people specifically targeted that you're looking for, whether it's on LinkedIn or whatever platform you're advertising on, and you give them a great offer, a great opportunity to go out and network and so forth. And that, say you spend $100 and you're able to get 10 people to come to this event out of that $100. How do those 10 people turn into revenue for you? Like if you can convert those 10 people into future business for you, then your returns is on that $100 that was spent on those people bringing you return business. That could be exponential for some industries and for some businesses and for some of these professionals. But if you're spending $100 on advertising to, X amount of consumers, and you only get one sale or two sales out of it at the maximum, and that return isn't that big, you might not even make back your $100 invested in the end. So I think that it's important to spend your money smartly and just come at it a different way.
Yeah. You mentioned LinkedIn. Why is that place such a shit show right now?
I don't like LinkedIn at all. I imagine some of your people might use LinkedIn and, might be successful on LinkedIn. I can't stand the platform. And I'm actually building a platform because I hate LinkedIn so much that I'm building a platform that I feel is going to be more of what I need. And, people like me are going to use. So I hate LinkedIn with a passion. I could open my LinkedIn right now. I probably have 1,000 messages I haven't read of people that are trying to pitch me something and whatever. It's just, and I put a dummy email address on there that I don't monitor just because I get so many emails due to LinkedIn from people scraping, because LinkedIn lost a lawsuit, which basically said that people can scrape LinkedIn and email people based upon LinkedIn, right? So there are so many people scraping LinkedIn and cold emailing people. And I probably have, 10,000 emails in that inbox from the past couple of years of just people that have, just cold emails. And it just sucks. The platform sucks. Yep. I blame Microsoft.
Amen. So, man, where should people go to learn more about you?
It really depends on, what their cup of tea is. Instagram's a good place. I like to, post some content there and, keep people updated. The baby's starting to sleep a little bit more, so maybe I can start posting some more reels and posting some more tidbits of information over there. And Facebook's a good place. You can connect with me on Facebook. Find me on there, Matt Ganzak, Ganzak. And then also YouTube. I have some good content over there. Need to post a couple new videos and start getting going over there as well. So the game of creating content is time consuming. It's really a time consuming strategy. But the one thing I can leave your audience with is the returns. Like I've created videos on YouTube from years and years ago, and I still have leads coming in from those. So, if you put videos out there and you put content out into the world, and it lives out there forever, you can definitely see a return of people coming in, and just keep creating content and keep going and keep doing it. And, when you have kids, take some time off to spend with your family and then get back on it. Right.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, I saw on your YouTube and even on your website, you have like 2017 video, the Facebook strategy of 2017. Is that to show like longevity, that you're not a rookie in this? Because obviously, why would I want to watch a 2017 video on Facebook? I want to watch a 2023 video.
Yeah. When I originally did it, I think 2017, 18, and 19, I believe, are the years that I did. And I was the number one ranked video for that keyword. So when I created videos around that, I created keywords, videos around specific keywords of what people were searching for. And I did that more as an example of like what that opportunity looks like. And I went and showed people like, here's how you can do this opportunity. But my game hasn't necessarily always been about creating content. It's about creating content for our partners and our clients and our brands and our businesses and so forth. And I haven't necessarily created content exactly for my personal brand, but It is so important. I can't tell you how important having your personal brand is. And I'm slacking like tremendously, still slacking. So to answer your question, that's me not doing what I should be doing.
Hey, fair enough.
Yeah.
You
I
know, hey,
should be creating more content.
I'm glad you got out of radio, man. Like you're just this beautiful guy. We
Uh-oh.
need to see your face, man.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Video is absolutely massive. If you're not leveraging video and having a good mic, good mic is important, having a good camera, putting out good quality content, like it is just night and day, like can change your entire world, right? I've had, viral videos, go to have millions of views and, different content that I've put out there that have, generated tons of money for me. And you can't do that without doing video. So 100% video is something people need to be doing. Like I can't stress that enough.
Yeah. Cool, man. We'll go play with that baby. Thanks for taking the time, man. It's good catching up.
Yeah, I hear one or two possibly screaming right now. So let me go figure out what's going on there.
I know that this is a nice thing from working from home. Like, honey, I would love to help, but I've got this important call.
Yeah.
Oh, the diaper's been changed. Hey, my call ended early. How are you?
Yeah, I need to look into soundproofing my little office here. But yeah, other than that, it's been
quiet.
a joy being able to work from home.
I've always worried, but I got a dog, 7 kids. I'm up on a hill, but there's a busy street below me. I don't know. Very few things get picked up, but it's all good, man. Just do your thing. It was good seeing you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, man.
So literally after talking with him, I've already met with 2 different developers, one with an existing CRM, one that's a software developer. So the one guy's going to add some features that I want into his CRM, and the developer is going to create a plugin for me that I can sell for other tools like HubSpot. So that's the benefit of doing these podcasts. I mean, I can ask the questions that I truly have, and they always inspire me. I'm taking notes, then I review it before I go live with it and publish it. Wow. Thank goodness for the pause button. I literally had to stop this and go get a cough drop. But anyway, the joys and wonders of technology. But like I was saying, it's a good thing to be able to do this, to get the inside scoop. I recommend you do something similar for your own business. If you're wondering how to start, let me know. Hit me up. I can coach you through several things. Creating your own books, programs, podcasting, video. I've done a lot of this stuff for quite a while. So hit me up at thesaleswhisperer.com. Join us in the Gorillas of Growth, gorillasofgrowth.com, on Friday, December 2nd. And look, even if you can't make it, it's $150 for 7 hours of content. Well, and we're going to take breaks. It includes lunch. So I don't know, 5 hours of content. But there'll be time in there. There'll be some writing prompts. I'm creating a group. You get a free group access for a month. So even if you can't make it, get the recordings and join us in the group for 30 days for $150. I mean, good grief. And I haven't done one of these in a long time. So, and holidays are coming up, recession's coming up. My friend's giving me the free space. So it's like, that's why it's cheap. Okay. And I want to help as many people as I can. So come do it. All right. It's copy, C-O-P-Y, copybywest.com. Come join us. Then you can go sell something.